Hey guys, welcome to Living with Positivity. I'm super excited because my friend Kathryn Merriam is here, and we are going to be talking all about meditation and how you can get started on developing a meditation habit and why it's even important. What is meditation, do you think?
Well, I think that, first of all, I think that the word has a lot of stigma attached to it that isn't necessarily always there. A meditation can be going on a run. That would be considered to me like an active meditation. And I haven't ever really tried to define the word before, but I suppose meditation is something that orders the chaos in your mind and maybe brings you into a state where you're able to just have silence in the chatter in your mind, and you're able to I suppose in the best case scenario, see things more clearly and feel more peaceful about your life and that sort of thing. Does that make sense?
Totally. And that's so hard to do in this day and age. Because, I don't know, would you say that to meditate, you'd have to kind of just stop everything? Is it just sitting there and being still, or can you do other activities? I guess you'd have to turn off your phone and kind of take away those abstractions that we're just constantly distracted in this day and age. Could I meditate and still be drinking a cup of tea? What are your thoughts on that?
That's a really good question, actually. I would say yes. I think for me specifically, I need to sit down and close my eyes and really keep still and calm away from any distractions, because I get easily distracted, and I think a lot of people do. But I think that technically, if you were sitting in a room and you were focused on something, maybe staring at a flame on a candle or something, and drinking a cup of tea, and just focusing your mind, that would still technically be considered meditation. To me, don't quote me on that, anybody, but I don't see why not. Because I have heard people talk about how going on a run or going on a walk, and you're still doing something. A lot of people meditate with their eyes open.
Interesting, because that was another one of the questions I had. You could pretty much do it anywhere. You don't have to dedicate a specific room. And can there be distractions like noises or people playing music in the background? Or
I think that it's definitely, that's a really good question. I know that it's definitely more difficult to meditate when there's distractions, but oftentimes that can be a really interesting exercise in itself to learn how to silence your mind even when the external world is really loud. And that's not just an exercise that you would deal with in that sense. You deal with that all the time, and that's the point of meditation, is to get you into a state where you're able to live your life, and there's all of these things happening around you, and there's a lot of chaos in the world, and learning to deal with that chaos with peace, I guess.
And there's something so simple and profound about just doing nothing, especially today. Just we often find that this moment is kind of ordinary, or the moment of now is kind of mundane. We're always thinking about the future and what we want to do in the future, but it's kind of just the moment is something that we don't really explore. There's possibilities.
Yeah, there's possibilities, and there's so much beauty in the ordinary things that are happening around us all the time. And that's, to me, doing seated meditation or doing awareness meditation is one of the ways for me to prepare myself for living the rest of my life in a much more aware way. And I mean, you could consider that as the goal being to be in a meditative state the whole time, 24 hours a day, I suppose. But the point is to learn how to walk along the street and pay attention to the little things that are happening, rather than being distracted by what's going on your phone and who's texting you, or being in a conversation with a friend. And this is one of the things I talk about with my friends all the time, is the cell phone thing, and how people will, it's exactly what you're talking about, not being in the present moment that you're in, and always thinking about the next thing, and getting distracted by that, and being afraid of silence, I guess.
Yeah.
Sorry,
yeah.
I'm going off on like all of these tangents.
Totally. For someone like me that doesn't meditate regularly, what would you say are the first steps to starting a meditation habit? Like, how should I implement this tomorrow? What should my goals be?
Well, I have so I teach music, and I have some vocal students that I give them this challenge of meditation. And it starts with telling them, okay, before you go to bed at night, when you're lying there, try for a minute or two to just focus on your breathing. To just lie there in bed and think about your breathing and only think about that. And what ends up happening is you start to feel the sensations in your body, and you start to pay attention to those things, and you start to become very aware of what's going on. And there are many things that happen, but your mind will start to chatter. And the more that you do it, and the longer that you're able to sit and just focus on your breathing, or we were just actually speaking with my friend Courtney, and he was talking about how he's started meditating, and he'll focus on he'll close his eyes and focus on a flame. He'll imagine a flame in his mind. Some people will think about specific sensations in their body. Some people will chant a mantra, or even just say some words to focus on, or pick a word, whether it be love or a positive word. Don't focus on a negative word. That would not be good. Or some people even count to start with. Something to order your mind and get and start to lose the chaos that's there. And teach yourself to focus, concentrating on something.
Yeah, and it's an everyday thing, or it's as much as you can do it?
It's as much as you can do it, yeah. I tend to be this sort of same way, like a bit of an extremist, and I've been in stages of my life where I'm like, well, if I'm not doing it every day, it's pointless. Anything that you're doing is going to make a difference. If you have if you have 1 minute in the morning to sit and just focus on your breath, I promise you that 1 minute will make even a little difference.
And that goes with everything in life. Exactly. That goes with
vegetarianism.
Yeah, it's not all or nothing thing. Yeah. It's reducing your impact on this planet.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Thanks for sharing.
Oh, you're welcome. You were talking about the spiritual aspect of it earlier, right? And I guess one of the questions might be, if you're not into spirituality, or you don't believe in a God, or you don't believe in a higher consciousness, what's the point in meditating? I guess.
Yeah, that's a great question.
And even if all meditating is to you is sitting and being silent with your breath, even if you don't believe that you're connecting to anything outside of yourself, you're connecting to yourself, and you're going within yourself. And we're just so constantly, especially nowadays, inundated with and saturated with all of these things bombarding us. And it's sometimes hard to know what you really want, what you really want to do, who you really want to be.
And
I don't know, all these big
who you really
questions.
are too. We have to spend our lives with ourselves and our breath. Our breath carries us through this life. And it's sometimes that's so important to really just know who you are, instead of just always posting stuff on Facebook, and you have these Facebook personas and these YouTube personas. Yeah. It's totally getting down to the roots of your true identity.
Yeah.
Right?
Learning to become comfortable with that and calm, and when you're breathing and you're having all of these thoughts come into your head during meditation, one of the ideas is to accept all of those thoughts, even if some of those thoughts are negative and you don't want them there. The idea is to sit with your thoughts and become equanimous with them, and to understand that everything is impermanent and everything is ever-changing. And if you're able to achieve these things in your meditation practice, the goal is to achieve those things in life. And so all of these things happen to you, and it's difficult, and it gives you anxiety, and it gives you worry, and you learn to breathe through it, no matter what happens, I guess.
Have preparation for those things.
Yeah. Another thing is expanded greater focus. You learn to focus on things. It's really difficult nowadays to focus on things. We have the shortest attention span probably of any generation, because you go through a million Facebook statuses in like a minute, and so that's why people will say, like, oh, isn't it boring to sit and meditate for that long? It's really important to learn how to focus, I think. That's a big thing.
If not for ourselves, but for the evolution of the human species.
Yeah, no kidding.
Ah.
Another thing is a lot of people in the arts will talk about how meditation enhances their creativity. They find that they're able to. David Lynch is a big advocate for transcendental meditation, for example, which is one of the types that I've dabbled in, and he talks about how in you're refocusing your mind and you're going down into the deep depths of yourself and picking out these creative ideas that just come out somehow. And if you're constantly inundated with things, those things aren't going to come out. You're not gonna have the silence for them to show themselves, I guess.
I love that for sure.
Yeah. And was there any other benefits that I didn't talk about? The awareness thing is huge. Just becoming aware of, being more aware in your life, because I think awareness brings so much more happiness, because you're able to you're looking at all of the things in the world, and there's so many beautiful things in the world, and we often just are distracted.